Good morning, good afternoon, good day, wherever you are in the world, whenever you're watching this. We are so glad that you're here. I am Marian LaSalle, my co-host Russ Johns, and our special guest today, Carmen Rojas. Did I say that right, Carmen?
You did. Thank you very much.
And today, our show is Marketing Ideas That Work on the Future Media TV channel. And I am excited because Carmen has come on to our show impromptu to fill in for some people that didn't show up and things like that. And we found her so fascinating that we wanted to have her on for real for the whole show. So welcome, Carmen. And hi, Russ.
Thank you.
Good morning, lady. How are you doing today? I'm getting a little bit of an echo, so I'm not sure if it's heard on your side. So
your sound is off.
I'll turn it off here and let you guys talk a little bit, see if it'll come back.
You come back because your sound is awful.
Yeah. Good morning. I just want to say good morning, and I'll drop out in a second here.
Okay, whatever he said. Blah, 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 blah. Good morning, RJ. Good morning, everybody. I'm so glad to have you here. And feel free to ask any questions that you want over in the sidebar. We will answer anything that you want. Well, okay, maybe not anything. Will you take that on, Carmen?
That's kind of, it depends on how well you know me. So let's just leave it at that. But I do reserve the right to plead the fifth.
Okay. So I want to start by asking you a little bit about what you're doing and what your company is and then how you all work, where you are in the world.
Okay. My company is called Rojas Consulting. We are digital marketing consultants, and we specialize in data analytics and website data. Basically what we do is we're kind of the marketing nerds. I self-proclaim and own that. We're the ones that monitor all the numbers. So we want to know, all of the not so juicy bits of marketing, but the ones that actually matter and make a big difference to how well a company grows, how, the pace of their sales, all of that fun stuff. We are located pretty much everywhere in the world. I have a virtual team of people that work with me, and I have guys as far away as South Africa that do some work. I have a group, someone up in, I think he's in Philadelphia right now. We do some work out in California. So we're spread out everywhere. I personally am in the beautiful state of Florida. But I'm a proud Navy wife, so that's just temporary. So, so you never know when we'll be someplace else. We were just about an hour north of Boston about a year ago. So we've been a little bit of everywhere, and I built this company and this business specifically to accommodate that, so that no matter where I am in the world, we still get great results for our clients in terms of their marketing and analytics.
Oh, that's fantastic. I want to unpack that just a little bit. My ex-husband was in the Air Force, and I couldn't find a job because every time they found out I was an Air Force wife, they knew I was going to be gone within a year, so they didn't hire me. And I thought that was so unfair, but now that I look back on it, I say, okay, well, I get it. They wanted somebody at least, to think that they might be permanent, I guess. I don't know.
That's a common thing with military, being a military spouse. And it's one of the things that I definitely struggled against. And so that's why I just decided, that was one of the biggest reasons why I jumped entrepreneur. Because I certainly plan to be a Navy wife until my husband decides to leave the Navy. I mean, I'm not going to get divorced over it. So, I think I liked being married more than I liked being employed.
And you get to travel.
So, there is this stigma that, don't hire military because they could just jump and leave. But anybody could. To be honest with you, most Navy, and I'm going off on a tangent. I warned you about that. Most of the time we're here.
What do you want me to do? You want me to do like this if you're tangenting?
No. But I'm gonna make this quick. But most military, places, for Navy people, is 2 to 3 years that we're in a specific location. with the way that the world is moving and the way that employment works, can you actually hire somebody and expect that they're going to stay longer than 3 years?
No.
Not really.
No.
So to be honest with you, we're just as employable as anybody else. And my sister is an Army spouse and has been in the same place now for more than 10 years. So, this whole stigma of military people being kind of flighty employment people is just way overblown. And I think we make some of the best employees, because we don't want to lose our jobs. So.
Right.
Well, that brings up a good point to transition into the marketing side of the equation. And what you said, Carmen, was really important, I think, to this audience is that part of the reason you became an entrepreneur and you started getting into data and analytics is because you can do that anywhere. You don't have to be in the same room with the client, across the table, sitting in a conference room, looking at reams of data on paper. You can do this anywhere. So talk a little bit about how you've developed your clientele and how you've actually acquired clients virtually over time and space. We've been our own guinea pig. So, we've done a lot of, the typical social media things. We have Facebook pages and Twitter pages, and we were on Google Plus. I had a hangout there called the Camel Jacket Chat for a while. We did the network thing. We've been a part of networking groups and all of that. And they do kind of sort of work. We've invested in SEO, invested in pay-per-clicks. So we always have a number driven approach. We always want to verify what we're doing or not doing or what we abandon, based on hardcore data. And so that, I think, has been the biggest push for us as to how we acquired our clients, because we figured out what worked and then we just stopped doing what didn't work. Right.
And so we were able to, because we were monitoring all of that and we knew where our clicks were coming from. We knew what, social media channels were actually not just giving us likes and followers, but were actually giving us conversions at the website. We could invest our money smartly and properly so that we actually grew our client list over time.
Right.
And so that's been our biggest thing. And so now when we talk to prospective clients, we can tell them what worked and what we actually did and, what our actual real experiences were, rather than, trying to quote somebody else. I mean, we became our best case study.
Right.
Not everybody fits every model of marketing, though. So I'm eager to find out how you decide a brick and mortar's marketing plan versus a virtual company. And before you tell us, I have to know what your tagline means. So I found your tagline on Twitter, of course, and
we know where to put the X.
We know where to put the X.
We know where to put the X.
There is a story that I believe it's actually Tesla and Ford, that Henry Ford, and it's somewhat of a fictitious story, but the story is that Henry Ford had a factory, and I assume they were building cars, but Ford actually built all kinds of things. And so one of the critical machines went down, and he couldn't figure out. He had all of his team come in and look at it. They couldn't figure out. It was a critical machine that went along the process, and so without it, the process was stopping, and so he was losing money. Finally calls in Tesla to come in and look at this machine. And so Tesla looks at the machine and he spends about 15 minutes kind of looking over it. And he gets a piece of chalk, draws a big X on the machine and said, take a hammer, hit it right there in the middle of the machine. And, the tech people are like, what? So they get a hammer, hit the machine starts working. No problems, machine starts working. So then Tesla hands Ford a bill for, I'm sure at the time it was, I don't know, whatever the inflation rate would have been, but, say for the sake of argument, hands him a bill for $1 million. He says, what in the world? You were here for like 20 minutes. And so he sends him an itemized bill, and it says it was 5 cents for the chalk, $999,999.95 to know where to put the X. So
I've heard that story. Yeah.
So that's where we get that from.
For my time, you're paying for me to know where to put the X.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's funny because I got a lot of like flack from other people in marketing and whatnot. And they're like, why would you do an X? And an X means you're marking things out. And, and I'm like, no, I think we've taken the X and done a different thing with it. So that's the story of our tagline. And I got to come up with a faster way of telling that story. But it really is about knowing where things are. How do you point to things, not just doing the work, but making sure that your work is actually doing something.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's get into figuring out, how do you take a company and, depending on what they do, figure out what their marketing plan is? How do you figure that out? What's the plan of attack?
Well,
what's your personal approach, I guess?
Well, it starts with the business owner. It starts with really understanding what their vision is. We never ever forget that at the end of the day, this is somebody else's business. This is something that they have to be comfortable with, and they have to sleep with it at night. They have to be willing to go out and promote it, and they love this thing. So,
that's right. It's their baby.
It is their baby at the end of the day. It absolutely is their baby. So understanding what it is that they want for their company and what their company means to them is always kind of where we start at. And then we start looking at research. We want to look at, what does the industry say? And we actually start forming hypotheses based on what the industries will tell us. Those aren't facts, because like you said earlier, every business is different. As you could look at something just a year ago and be like, well, it was just a year ago, so maybe we'll apply that. Well, a year ago, Blab wasn't here.
Right.
A year ago, Facebook wasn't doing the live events, so there's so many things that happen in marketing so quickly that even looking at things that are a year old, may or may not be applicable anymore. There've been algorithm updates. There's all this other stuff that happens so fast. So, we start formulating our questions based off of that. And then we move very quickly using an agile process of testing data. We use A/B split tests. We start answering these hypothetical questions very quickly. We use pay-per-clicks and Facebook posts and all kinds of stuff to start answering some of these questions. And then we build marketing based off of the answers to these questions. And the answers come from actual live people. It comes from your target audience rather than a focus group or some kind of fictional made up thing. No, these are your actual audience and your actual people.
This is awesome, because one of the things that Marion and I are really working hard on, and as you know, Carmen, we're very passionate about the media, the live streaming aspect of it. We've been in podcasting, we've been familiar with the digital production end of that equation, right? And we believe that there's a lot of value in having that presence online these days.
Sure.
So I noticed you did a post on that talking about live streaming.
Right.
And maybe you could go into that and give us your perspective. Obviously you're here, so there's some essence of interest, or is there any validation or numbers that you can share with us that would allow us to believe that this is a good thing, or are we just spinning our wheels here?
Well, the answer to that question is in your own data and in your own analytics. So is this working for you? I would have to look at your numbers to be able to tell you that. But is this working in general? I would say it depends on, for those that have the right goals and for those that can be strategic about what they're doing, then yeah, it can work out just great. One area where we can pretty safely say it is not affecting anything is SEO. You will not change your page rank based solely on whether or not you're doing this. If you just posted a live feed, there's a lot of technical reasons why,
Right.
But to be succinct about it, the Google Spider doesn't read video.
It doesn't read text in video.
No, it doesn't. So you're not going to get any SEO benefit out of doing it, but you do get a better conversion rate. There's been better conversion between social media and then coming over to the website. One of the ladies that I highlighted in there, Lakeisha Singletary, she got so busy after she did about one Facebook Live chat every day for more than a month, and just got so busy that she had to stop doing it because it was just so much work that she had coming in. I know there are people here, Mayana Stevenson is another one of my favorite blab groups, blab shows to watch, and she's the same way. She does a blab, and she has said she can pretty much count that after she does one, she usually gets 2 or 3 new clients every single time she does one. So it does work. But the thing about both of those ladies is that they're being very strategic about it. They're, they're embedding it into their website and putting keywords around it and doing all of those other things that actually move it forward. So it's not just it's not just about host a show and never do anything else with it. Right. It's about being strategic about moving that content around the internet so that it actually comes back and benefits your website.
That's exactly what we adopted right in the very beginning, because we knew that, yes, people are going to stay on the page longer when they're watching the video, which does help SEO, but that was about it, right? And we know, because we build websites, that you have to have some keywords in here or some reason for Google to understand what it is you're doing, right? They can't read a picture or a video. You have to embed something there. Right. So we found some software that we put on our websites. All of our customers have it. And when they have their own show, every single comment on the sidebar is going straight to Google. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
That is awesome. And that's what you have to do. I mean, you just have to be strategic, and you have to think beyond the, think beyond the ad, so to speak. Everybody wants to, or think beyond the hype. Let's just, we'll hashtag that. Right. You see everybody, and I saw, Damon Johns did a video about his new book and things like that, but you don't see all of the work that his group is doing behind the scenes to make that effective. So, and if we're not if we're not a shark, we don't have the audience that he does. So your strategy and your approach has to be a little bit different than what his is. But you still have to have a strategy, and you have to have a plan, and you have to execute that plan every single time.
Carmen, tell me, do you give people advice, or do you do the work for them, or both?
Both.
Okay.
Both. We do some of our work. We actually are kind of the subcontract for other marketing groups that don't do the number side. They're, the graphic arts, content type people. And that's perfectly fine, because I can't draw to save my life. So I'm terrible. My stick figures are pretty awful. We love working with groups like that, because we're a good match for them. We actually were the sub on a project for a group that the guy had already invested in SEO, in the past, and was really very skeptical about it. And within about 90 days, he actually had to stop, because he was getting he's a caterer, and got so many orders that he had to tell us to stop. And we were the sub on that. I don't even know if he knew we existed. We were the sub for another marketing agency, and so he loved them, but said, "Hey, I got to, I'm getting too much work." What were you doing
specifically for that project?
We were doing a lot of keyword analysis for him. I'd say probably about the majority of that work was keyword analysis, and giving them, it was some technical SEO tips, the on-page stuff, but those kinds of things can be fixed fairly quickly. Yeah. While you monitor them, the actual work is not that detailed. But the actual keyword analysis is what really helped him.
So tell me, what's your personal favorite method of lead generation for your own business?
Oh my gosh.
Say, for instance, your husband says, "Hey, dear, we're moving to San Diego tomorrow."
Have you been listening to my phone calls?
So
Russ,
you land yourself in San Diego, right? You go to the city, you're there, and you're saying, "Okay, I need to grow some clientele here." What would some logical steps that you could share with everyone, and what you would do next?
Wow. The first thing I would do is talk to people. I would want to be everywhere that I could be
So
to talk to
face-to-face
people.
networking.
Face-to-face networking is probably the first thing I would do. After that, I would probably make some changes to my own website. The local search, the local SEO stuff would have to be adjusted. That would be probably something you do kind of simultaneously, actually.
Sure.
But then I think probably the next thing would probably be some pay-per-clicks. I think you have to, here comes another tangent, so brace yourself. I think one of the things that entrepreneurs get wrong is this idea that we can do all this free marketing and then that'll generate money for us. And then we can put that money into doing paid marketing. And it usually doesn't work that way. You're going to have to shell out. You're going to have to come out of pocket when you come into a new space, when you come into a new, whether that space is a new physical location, a new market, a new, if you're changing products or whatever, you're going to have to come out of pocket. So
just like going to pay for an event when you're networking, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're investing in your future, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. And because, again, because of the analytics that we run and the data that we're aware of, we're able to do that smartly, but we still get it wrong every now and then. You try something and it's like, well, that didn't work. And the key to analytics, and one of the nice things is that you can figure it out much faster and redirect. And so that you're not wasting tons of money.
Right.
You may lose a day's worth of pay-per-clicks, but you don't lose weeks worth.
Right. You can notice it much quicker.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think that would probably be the first steps, would be to, talk to people. Then, we're changing our local SEO, and then we would be out doing pay-per-clicks.
What about traditional historical things, like PR campaigns where you're doing a newsletter, or you're doing a press release, or any of those activities? Do you ever venture down that, or you primarily stay in the digital arena?
We do occasionally. One of the things that we've actually spent a lot more energy on lately is growing our email list. And so that's definitely an area that we would do. But PR and all that, I think that comes after you talk to people, and that's one of the questions that we would talk to is who can I reach through PR and press release efforts. If we found out, and I think everybody would say, if you don't know the person that you're sending your press release to, the odds of them actually running it and doing anything with it kind of slim.
Right.
So if you can actually form a relationship with that news person or that outlet, then you have much better odds of them actually putting your press release out and putting it in front of people that can do something about it. And so I really think that that's kind of step 3 or 4. And you press releases and doing all of that, that's a whole nother topic for another day. But just announcing that, hey, it's another digital marketing group in San Diego, that's not news.
Right.
So you have to make it news. You have to make it something that they would actually want to run.
Carmen, would you be open to taking a real case scenario of somebody in the audience today and saying what you would do for them as a client?
Absolutely. I'll take that. With the warning that if I'm not looking at your analytics, I can't be 100% certain. But
I totally get that. Well, we just happen to have somebody in our audience. Her name is Marla Reagan, and she owns an organizing company called Organized Time.
Okay.
She's come out with a brand new product, or I guess it would be called a service, and it's fascinating. Russ and I both jumped in first. We were so glad we did. Her first day was yesterday. She is doing an accountability. I don't know if you call it a mastermind group. No, it's not really mastermind. What would you call it?
It's more of an accountability workshop where it's like recurring.
Yeah, every Monday morning or every Tuesday commitments or whatever. She's got different times.
Come in every week and then we talk about progress and what's holding us back or what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And it's a great idea,
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we were thinking about is, okay, what's a good way to promote this concept to a larger audience?
I'm sorry. So what the concept of this mastermind group or I'm sorry, I'm not sure I follow.
Getting people to join in and sign up.
Okay.
It's like a group, it's like a networking group, only it's paid a group.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where you're going, Marion?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So where are we going?
Well, I was just wondering, if she came to you as a client, what would you suggest her first thing to do, or what would you do for her?
Well, probably the first thing is I would just want to get a little bit clearer on exactly what she wants to have happen out of this. And I'm not sure, between Russ's description and yours, exactly what she's looking for there. If the goal is, and I think that's part is big. What's the goal? What's the plan? What are you trying to do? Every business, whether you're a nonprofit or a for-profit, wants to make money. But how is it that you're doing that? So what is it? What's the key conversion that we got to make? And so understanding what that is and understanding her business structure and how she makes money. We talk about engines of growth and things like that. So once we get to an understanding from her, and that would be part of that initial conversation of understanding what's her why, what's her passion, what's all of that.
That's fantastic. We do not have time to go into details and any of that. So I'm glad you said that, because that's everybody's stumbling block. We forget to think about what our why is. We just go into business because it's something we're excited about. We heard about it. Somebody told us this, and we think we can make money or whatever. And we forget to sit down and say, this is our why. This is our target market. We forget to do that. And so I'm so glad you said that. It's not you just show up and I'm going to tell you what to do in 5 minutes. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and it really also comes from understanding your target audience's pain points. What a lot of people market from the standpoint of I'm so wonderful, so it's I'm so awesome. Look, I've got all these degrees and I've got all these certifications and I've got all of these things that make me awesome. But it's, and here's why you should want to work with me. But it's not how I can help you. How can I help you solve your problem? They talk, are you their Tylenol for their pain? That's what you want to be. But you have to understand your audience very well. And analytics can be a huge part of that, of understanding what works. If you're able to split test and bring in information from email and social media and all of these things, and you can get a very detailed picture of what the pain points of your audiences are.
And that brings up such a great point is there's no, at least I believe, there's no right answer. There's no there's no cookie cutter plan for every business. No. Every person has their why. Every person has their goals, the things that they're looking to accomplish in that mission. And so, people like yourself, Carmen, it's so awesome to hear another perspective and have this dialogue, because it's really important for business owners, and Marion and I are really passionate about this idea that, let's start the conversation, because a lot of people are still, a little hesitant to go out and do something because they don't have the answers. And if they had a little bit of information and a few tools to go out there and try something, maybe they would go out there and try it a little more. So.
Well, and I think to echo that, sometimes it's not just about having the answers, but knowing what questions to ask. People are asking the wrong questions. I belong to several other Facebook groups, and oftentimes we get the question, how do we get more customers? How do I get more traffic to my website? And those are not exactly the questions that you want to ask, because, well, how do I get more customers but how do I get more traffic to my website? Well, there's a lot of ways you can do it, but if that traffic doesn't convert, then what's the point?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's the truth. Russ and I actually went through that exercise with somebody. There was traffic like galore. I mean, we had I looked at our stats, and we had 30,000 people that came to our website, and not a single person called us, emailed us, said anything. Right. It's like, what's the use? Come on.
Right.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Something has to change here. So it's like,
right. I mean, would you rather have 100 visits or one conversion? You want one conversion.
Conversion. That's like,
Absolutely.
and that's you notice that trend though, on social, it's like there's no value in having 100,000 followers if you're not converting anyone, right?
Exactly.
It's like, why buy followers even if it's a waste, right?
Right.
It is. And I get into social media arguments all the time with people. Well, if I don't have followers, then who would I be converting? And it's like, okay, but here's the thing. Followers are fine, but you have to have a strategy as to how you're going to turn those followers into conversions. So if all you do is chase followers and then it just stops, then that's a waste. But if it's just the first step in a process of how you're going to get those followers, turn them into conversions, turn them into customers, and then turn those customers into evangelists. That's the thing about social media. A lot of people will stop once they get a sale. And it was like, thank you, you bought my product, see you later. But if you actually turn, the wonderful thing about social is if you turn that customer into an evangelist that then goes out and says, this product was so wonderful and so awesome, you will save yourself time, energy, money, resources on marketing because they're doing it for you. Right. So that has to become part of the strategy as well. Don't stop at just the sale. You need to follow up. The goal is not to get a sale, but to get an evangelist.
Right.
Absolutely.
Gosh, we have run out of time. This went way
This
too fast.
Gone
we have
really,
to have you
really
back.
quickly.
Yes. Carmen,
it was so much fun.
Yeah, and
I know.
Thank you so much. We'd love to have you back again and talk about this. Is one of our favorite subjects. And Marion, thank you for all you do and all the great stuff that we're looking forward to accomplish here. So we love videos. So
yes, we do. So Carmen, you said you were thinking about offering something or sending somebody to a special place.
Yes, I have, but I haven't got it 100%. So can I post it here a little later?
Actually, yes, you can. I'm not sure that anybody would actually see it here, but
what you can do. Okay, I'll tell you what. Follow me on Twitter, and we'll make sure. We're at Rojas Consulting on Twitter.
I'm following you on Twitter.
Yeah, if you follow us there, then we will post those links later. But I apologize. Yesterday, the internet was crazy here. They're laying new fiber optic lines out in front. And so it was taking us forever. I mean, the pages were just not loading and things were timing out. And so it was just a mess. So I apologize that that's not quite ready yet. But what it's going to be is if you are not using Google Analytics already, shame on you. But if the reason is because you don't know, you're kind of afraid of how to install it or you're not sure, it's going to be a special offer for you to get Google Analytics installed. We will install it for you. We'll set it up. We'll put in some of those basic filters so that you're filtering out your IP address. That way you're not monitoring yourself in your own analytics. We will set that up for you and it will be a great, great rate. Usually we offer that at about $150. I think it's going to be like about $50. So, and it's only for, those of you that we'll set up a special hashtag and all of that so that you guys can take advantage of that opportunity. But Google Analytics is one of the greatest free products I've ever seen.
Yeah,
excellent.
It's amazing.
Excellent. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And every Tuesday and Thursday, Marion, 8:30 Central Time. We're here to answer your questions and get guests in here that can answer your questions that we can't answer. So that's our job.
Come back again, Carmen.
I will. Thank you, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Bye, everybody.